Hey you guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is kind of going to be an in-depth one about my team, the Vancouver Canucks. I want to talk about the whole JT Miller situation that's been going on here and just the Vancouver Canucks in general. There's a lot to dissect when we're talking about this, like a ton. So I don't plan on going like super in depth where I'm talking about this for 20 minutes. There's a lot I can talk about the whole team. I'm mainly going to be focusing on JT Miller here. I'm also going to attempt to kind of play a little bit of devil's advocate here. I'm going to lay the facts on just how dumb JT Miller can be, but I'm also going to try to defend him a little bit at the same time. I don't just want to completely ream on him. I want to defend him a little bit. So I'm going to start off with the number one kind of thing, the elephant in the room here, and that's JT Miller's interview that he had, where he pretty much said, just to summarize it up, he pretty much said that his lack of producing in the offensive zone is due to his increase of defending in the defensive zone. That's essentially what he said. He's pretty much saying he's not scoring as much because he's defending better. And people ripped into him. It was a really bad time for him to say this because I think it was after the Calgary game where he probably had one of his worst effort games, which is a big thing for JT Miller's effort, but we'll touch into that later. This game against Calgary, he did not play the best, especially defensively, and that's, I believe, before he said what he said. So it was just really bad timing on his part. The timing definitely didn't help him whatsoever. But in JT Miller's defense, he has looked better defensively. I believe 5-on-5, he is the third best for goals against, which means he is third on the team for allowing goals against on 5-on-5. So that's in December. I have to specify that's in December, not the whole season. So in December, his focus was to try to be better defensively, and I will say it seems like he has. Where he hasn't been good, obviously, is offensively, which he did state in his comment there, where I think he's the third worst in scoring in December. So he definitely did clean up his defensive act a little bit, but where JT Miller is finding a lot of criticism, other than obviously his attitude, is his attitude towards the play and his lack of effort to get the puck back, which you saw heavily in Calgary, and you see it all the time, not just in that game. You see it all the time where JT Miller just doesn't want to go get the puck back. It's like he just doesn't seem hungry to get the puck back, which I simply don't really understand. He's obviously very, very passionate about the game and he wants to win. So when you lose the puck or you turn the puck over, why are you not angry at yourself and trying to get it back to just prove to yourself and your teammates and the fans that you can kind of make up for your mistakes? He never does that. Never once has he made up for his mistake, in my opinion, at least this season. Like, every time he turns the puck over, he either changes, gets off the ice, or he just slowly skates back. And it's like, where is the effort? This team is never going to win if somebody who has an A, somebody who's supposed to be a leader on the team, is not showcasing any effort whatsoever. So as he has improved a little bit defensively, it's still that lack of effort, which is the big thing that's tearing him down, and a big thing that a lot of people are hating on when it comes to JT Miller. He just has no effort whatsoever, which leads me into the next topic, which is his attitude 100% needs to be fixed. I don't know what's going on with him. I know he's always had this kind of issue with his attitude on the ice and displaying it. Even last year when he put up 100 points, you could hear him swearing as he got off the ice on line changes. It's just who JT Miller is. He's going to express his opinion. He's not shy about it, and he's not afraid to say what's on his mind and to express it to everyone and anyone, which can be good but also can be bad. It really depends how the team portrays this, which is why people saying that JT Miller is a locker room cancer, I don't know 100% if that's true. I feel like you need somebody to kind of balance and bounce off JT Miller when he's having these thoughts and when he's talking like this, because you can see it as, holy, this guy just really wants to win. But it comes back to effort, where JT Miller has to actually prove that by providing effort. If he's yelling at players for certain plays, and then he goes out there and gives it 110%, then the players are like, okay, this guy just really, really wants to win. Like, I'm not taking this personal, he just wants to win. But when he's yelling at players for plays, then going out there and not giving any effort, the players are going to look at him and just have no respect. They're going to be like, what are you doing? Like, who do you think you are? And that's where I think the biggest disconnect for JT Miller is. Difference between this season and last season. Last season, I felt like he gave a little bit more effort. Obviously, he still defensively wasn't the best, but he yelled at players, he swore, he got angry when plays didn't go his way, but he also got back on the ice and scored clutch goals, scored lots of goals, provided good plays offensively, and he's just not really doing that this year, and also not really doing it defensively, so he's kind of just in that no man's land. By no means is he playing terrible, because point-wise, he's actually doing pretty decent. He's feeding Horvat a lot of the goals that he's getting, especially on the power play. So JT Miller is definitely not playing like absolute terrible. He's not a bum, but he's definitely not playing to the highest of his standards. Like I said, I think he needs to focus on expressing his passion and his frustrations a little bit differently. The way he handled the Colin Delia moment, I don't know if you guys saw that. I will try to put a quick video on the screen here where he is yelling at Delia for not getting off the ice. That was not a good way to show his passion. I understand. I think people definitely blew it out of proportion. I'm not here to do that. I think a lot of people were reaming on JT Miller so much for this, and I think it was a little bit too much for the way people were reaming on him. Like, sure, he definitely shouldn't have done that, and JT Miller was 100% in the wrong. Colin Delia was 1,000% in the right. But again, that's just who he is. He's done it his 4 years on Vancouver, and I don't know why people are so shocked to see it. Obviously, I don't know if he's done it to this extent, but him just showing his frustration like this, he's done it since being on the team. So I don't understand why people are so shocked by this right now and why this is catching people off guard so much. It's kind of just who he is and who he has been. So now, one final thing I really want to touch on about the JT Miller incident is he has been one of the most consistent forwards on the Vancouver Canucks for all his seasons on Vancouver. And you can say what you want about his attitude and the way he is defensively, but you can't knock the offensive numbers that he has had since coming onto this team. He's played on a pretty bad Vancouver Canucks team since coming in. The only decent season they had was the year they made the playoffs somehow in the bubble year, and we didn't even deserve that. And he's been consistent. Let me read off some of his numbers. So his first year with Vancouver, in 69 games, he had 72 points. Probably over 100 points. Pretty damn close. Next year in 53, he had 46. A little bit of a drop off. Still very good. Probably hovering around 75 points in a full season, maybe 70. And then last year was his historic year, putting up 99 points in 80 games. That's what JT Miller can do. And this year, he still has 31 points in 37 games. JT Miller has never been unreliable offensively, in my opinion. He's always put up points. And even the year in 2020, 2021, when he had 46 points in 53 games, he was a -7. This year he's a -15. So his defensive game 100% has gotten way worse. But keep this in mind. This is something I want to specify that I think a lot of people aren't looking at. They're comparing JT Miller and Bo Horvat for obvious reasons. Both contracts needed to be signed. Clearly, the Canucks chose JT Miller over Bo Horvat, which when you put up 99 points in 80 games, how could you not choose that over Bo Horvat, who has not had near a point per game season in his whole entire career, except this year, and I'll tell you why I think. So there's a big thing in the NHL for players who are on expiring deals, and they play some of the best hockey of their whole entire career. I don't want to say that's what you're seeing from Bo Horvat, but that could be what you're seeing from Bo Horvat, where he knows that his contract's up. He wants to get the most money possible. He's playing some of the best hockey he's ever played. It happens a lot in the NHL. It happens to a lot of different players where they play the best hockey on their contract year, and then after that they kind of come back down to reality. That could be a thing for Bo Horvat. Also, it works the other way, where players sign big contracts, and then after that, the year after, they kind of struggle. Sometimes players pick it back up and play the way they were before the contract. Sometimes they stay the way they are after signing it. But a lot of players struggle the year after the contract. They got more on their shoulders. They have a lot more stress. They actually have expectations. JT Miller was way over his expectations. I think hovering around 70, 80 points a season is the expectations for an $8 million player. That's my opinion. Definitely has to clean up defensively, though. So in my thing, this whole thing generalized, I don't think JT Miller is as big of a liability as people say. I think defensively is the main thing. He definitely has to improve defensively like a lot in order to like legitly be that elite forward that he was last year. He 1,000% needs to fix it up. But even think about it, even last year, he wasn't so much of a defensive, like he obviously wasn't a defensive liability, but he wasn't like stellar defensively. He had 99 points and he was only a +15. He's getting scored on a lot. That's just who JT Miller is. That's what you're going to get from him. It's just the lack of effort. You need to see more effort from him, and I don't know why he's not providing that. I can't even tell you why. I can't even think of a maybe as to why that is. He just needs to show more effort. I don't even care if some of these, obviously the turnovers suck and if we get scored on, but if he's hauling to get back and play defensively and we still get scored on, at least he's trying to get back. He's not even doing that. So that's the main thing for me. I want to see JT Miller hustle to get back into the zone, show some effort, and show kind of that, got to lead by example, and he needs to show that to some of the younger players and just all the players on the team. So that was a lot. I was rambling on, but I had a lot to say. There's still more I can talk about, so if you guys would like to hear me talk about the Vancouver Canucks some more, show support on the video by liking the video. Also, comment down below. Let me know your guys' opinions about JT Miller. What do you think is going to happen? The Canucks can still potentially trade him, but I'm thinking like the easier thing is for them to trade Bo Horvat. I've already talked about in my other video, I don't want them to sign Horvat to like $9 million. I don't think he's worth it. So, I mean, it's a tough situation. The Canucks are in a really tough situation. They could even trade both for all I know. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. More content on the way. Like the video if you enjoy. I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.